Yo, it's your boy, Seafoam Soldier. We're here today to talk about an episode of Drag Race. That episode is episode 3, I believe, All Stars 5. Um, so yeah, I think we've got some thoughts on it. I was like making dinner slash eating during a chunk of it, a couple of chunks of it. So if you guys help sort of guide me through. Um, wait, everything all right? Yeah, did you? So there's no mini challenge, right? Cool. So I guess we'll talk about. Oh wait, sorry. Let me introduce you guys first. Perfect time with Luke joining. Okay, sorry guys. So yeah, everyone say hi if you don't mind. We'll go around. So like Bob, Horatio, Luke, Yaz, Suter. Right. So if you guys all go for that.
Cool. I'm not rich and I'm not expensive, but I am floppy. Hello, it's Floppy Bob.
I'm not rich either, but I'm Spanish and I'm a musician. This way. I'm Horatio.
I'm expensive rich. Actually, I'm neither of those things, although I loved that line. Your top tune of the week is Luke.
I'm just your run-of-the-mill Brazilian bisexual bipolar boozer, Sis.
Oh!
Okay. So first of all, wait, what we're going to talk about? So we were drama Miss Crack is the first thing on the list, right? Cool. Sorry, only some people were nodding. So yeah, who wants to start off talking about that? Go on.
Maybe the fact that Angina voted herself to leave the last episode. I don't know. Does that need a mention?
I'm not really surprised by that, to be honest. So yeah, I don't know. Is anyone? Yeah, go on, Luke.
Sorry, I wasn't ready to unmute. Yeah, I wasn't surprised by that either, but I do like the fact that they show all of the votes now. Like they haven't done that before, I don't think. And it's quite nice to see actually what the, how safe someone was or how not.
Yeah, I agree. So should we move on? Should we move on to the Cracker drama? As that was kind of like the main drama of the episode, right? So who wants to start off talking about that? Yeah, go on, Bob.
Yeah, I kind of feel like they sort of went on about it for a really long time. Like it kind of was for the whole episode. And it was kind of, yeah, like Kurt's saying in the comments, like they really are forcing it. It's kind of like, when someone does the kind of casual mirror turn, like, so have you had any relatives die? It's kind of like that with this. I feel like they're just like, so give a shit about Cracker or anything. Like I get that in that kind of pressure cooker of an environment, that would probably feel like a much bigger deal. But also you can tell they've got like jack shit else to talk about because they're just like really harping on it and being like, oh my God, you never apologized. Like she literally apologized. It's on film. Like maybe there's more we didn't see behind the scenes, but like seriously, come on now.
I don't know. I think, of course, there will be an element of production telling them, guys, if you can create some, token drama, that would be lovely. But maybe not that way. That's a bit British. But I think that actually there is tension between Alexis and definitely from Alexis towards Miss Cracker for whatever reason. And the good thing about All Stars is that there isn't enough to not give a shit. And if they want to say something, they will say it. I mean, to me, the way that Alexis came on to Cracker, not just at the start, but later on in the episode, that's just not production telling them to create drama. That's Alexis really having a problem with Miss Cracker. So I'm not so sure that it's all fake and disingenuous. I think it's quite genuine, actually.
I think that by the time these days, by the time you get onto Drag Race your season, it's already happened. But definitely by the time you get to All Stars, you know how the fans are going to respond to some things that they see in the episode. So going into it, okay, I want to look a certain way. This is the story I want to create for the producers to sell me on. And therefore, I think if I'm Cracker, maybe, I think Cracker's smart. And I think sometimes, of course, you can fuck up. But I think that if Cracker's thinking, okay, so I want to create a little bit of an arc for myself. I'm going to have some sort of mistake early on. I'm then going to apologize for it. Then they're going to show me as a villain that then gets better. Maybe I think Alexis is maybe thinking. I think Juju's right. I think Alexis is playing mind games with all of this, and she's like, okay, I'm going to be the kind of like the, not in the negative way that she was in her season, in her last All Stars, but the Latrice kind of mother of the show. I'm going to try and stand up for the small guy who's being picked on, and so I'm going to sort of tackle Cracker head on, and I'm going to keep going at it. I feel like you know how things are going to be perceived, so you kind of go, okay, this is going to be a storyline, so I'm going to try and do something. If that comes up again later, I'm going to have a conversation. They're all professional performers for years or decades. I think they know what they're doing.
So actually, that's a good place. I wanted to bounce off of that because I agree. I don't feel like there's really ton to go into about the Cracker drama because it was kind of just like the same point repeated for the last 2 episodes. But I don't think Alexis is coming across particularly well out of this. And I was thinking about this during this episode. But I don't know. She's another one. Like, I've said a few times, like a few of the queens, I don't really get why they're so popular personally. And like Alexis, I think is one for me. Like, I think she's all right in the season. Like, was quite fun at points, but I don't remember particularly ever massively warming to her. Like, was she like super lovely, super nice? Like on her season, did I forget this, or like is this sort of like expected Alexis behavior? You're gone, Bob.
Well, it's kind of funny, isn't it? Because the whole her whole oh Bobby, I just want you to come home thing. Like when it was later found out that man never existed. Like you're kind of like the one big redeeming oh wow, it's so powerful and emotional was fabricated allegedly. So yeah, I'm guessing. I think that's.
I was just gonna say, this is my point. Like she even knew back then how to work a room.
Yeah, good point. Sis, go on.
Sorry, I forgot to mute I had no idea of that. I am shocked. I am gooped. I'm revoking my standing account. Alexis is done, cancelled. No, I'm joking. But I mean, she was very charismatic in her season. I thought she was charismatic in her season. But she comes from pageants. And pageant queens, they know how to work that shit. Like, they know how to do the mental games. They know that it goes beyond what you see on stage. It's all about, it's a lot about the backstage stuff. So yeah, I'm surprised about that, but I'm not surprised that she would have the cunning to try to work, people's minds and stuff, which is fair enough. I mean, why not?
I was just saying, yeah, listen to Race Chase. They always take the piss out of Alexis Pearl the whole time when there. It's really funny. They always do like the puppy come home thing the whole time. It's really funny. But I don't know if I think it was. I don't really know what Juju said 100%. But I think it was maybe like a bit of a language thing, where like that's personally how I read it. Where like because like Cracker, I don't think Cracker was obviously wasn't talking about her in any way. I think Alexis had interpreted it differently, and I think maybe it was a bit of a language thing. I don't know. I just don't think it's as calculated. I was just trying to think of a reason for it. Yeah, go on, Luke.
I don't think it is a language thing. I think further to Juju's point, what Juju said, like she speaks so much in English. She knows English well. We have evidence of that all the time. I don't know whether Arapia, you have any, or Sis, whether you have any comments on this, having learned English as a second language. But I feel like you understand whether someone's talking directly about you or not, even mentioning you at all in a conversation. And I don't know, I think she went in hard for it being a language barrier.
Honey, shade is not a language thing. Shade is shade in any language.
I mean, I think there is the element of being a bit more outspoken, being Latino, and maybe that's what Alexis could have been a bit more careful in this episode, just to shut his mouth. I'm talking about the later, not the early morning one, but the later episode with Cracker when he was just beating his mic and went like that, and like no one had invited him to that party. So yeah, like Luke mentions, exactly when they're talking about you, like Alexis just did then. So the language is not an excuse. I think it's more the wanting to express and speak your mind all the time, and it's almost kind of second nature to Latin people. But other than that, yeah, I don't think he would be lost in translation, and if he would, he would ask.
Can I say a word? Am I being too outspoken now? No, it's fine. It's true. My mum is a fucking mess.
I don't know, but then like what's her name? My brain's gone blank. Cracker said was kind of like there are things in English that are similar to that, right? Where like you'll say something and it can be like that was unsaid can be shade, right? Like there are plenty of occasions like that. And I think if someone learning English as a second language, like it's difficult to always know which circumstance like when that applies or not, when that's applicable. But obviously in any language it's out of order to sort of just like jump in and attack as opposed to like asking, like or like trying to get more information and clarifying in some way. So yeah, but I don't know. I don't feel like you guys. So like, but like, as I'm saying, was she kind of like this on season 3? Because like from my memory, she kind of was, right. Like I felt like she's amped up a little bit, but like I don't think she was like massively sweet with all the other queens from what I can remember. But I could be totally misremembering. So I'm interested to hear. Go on, to her.
On season 3, she was like really good friends with Shangela because it was the Buggers versus the Heathers. So she had a bit more of a sympathetic role. When now I think she's trying to avoid that. She's trying to show I'm here to do, because in her mind she's going to win the season. Bless, that's not going to happen. But I think she's coming really hard for Cracker because it reminded her of when she was quote unquote bullied by Manila and Raja and them. Even if it's subconscious, because that's what I'm seeing happening. But I think she's gone on a bit harsh on Cracker, because Cracker's one of these people that she doesn't realize what she says affects people so much. Because Cracker is one of these people, she's in her brain so much, she's not actually in the room when she's saying it. She wasn't saying that to upset Angina, she was saying that to get out how she felt. And to be fair, I think the Tipex thing was, if maybe she delivered it better, it wouldn't have been such a drama.
Yeah, like it's one of those things with Cracker. I don't like, kind of like you're saying, I don't think it was not a clever thing to say, but I think kind of what's happened from it is I think people have kind of been looking, maybe, in that kind of pressure cooker environment, queens are probably looking for a target. Cracker easily made herself one there, which I don't think helped her. I think Alexis is kind of taking advantage of that situation. I don't like it. I don't necessarily blame her, but like, I don't like it. And I don't know, I can see how if you saw, if you're already feeling a bit paranoid or whatever, hearing what Cracker said, you could read into it in the same way that if you'd seen that as a text or whatever, you might kind of want to pick it apart. But I think it was fairly obvious from the context. I would have thought personally that it wasn't about her.
I agreed with what Bob said to start with. Like Cracker's comment on the previous episode was unnecessary, and she made herself a target now by Alexis. But that said, I did think that there was shade in her comment when she was talking to Shay, and she was saying, "Well, yeah, because I don't know how she phrased it. I respect you, and I respect the other, and I respect the other." And she made sure not to mention Alexis. So. And that's fair enough, because Alexis had started the whole beef, but I read that as shade.
But wait, guys, could you say that's exactly what I'm saying? My point is, like, with English, there's like a lot of it with this sort of stuff is what you don't say, right? So that's what I was saying before. But go on, Luke.
Yeah, I think definitely shade is often about the things you don't say. I think in this case, though, I think Cracker listed like 4 queens in the room. And how many queens are there still in? Like double that number. So it's not like she was deliberately leaving out, not like Angina didn't wish whoever good luck on the previous episode. When the 3 of them left and she wished 2 of them good luck, but not Cracker. And that was like pointedly leaving someone out. So I don't feel like Cracker was deliberately leaving out Alexis. She was, and 2 of the people that she mentioned were in her group. So she was, I think, for me, she was saying that, this is in a good place because I'm working with the people in my group. But I think I would say that Cracker, yes, she said something silly and misguided to Angina. She then owned up to it and apologized to Angina directly, by the way, and then also said it again at the start of the episode, which everyone else seemed to have forgotten. But then Alexis has now a couple of times deliberately gone for her again. So to me, that makes Alexis worse than, I think Alexis's misdeeds are worse than Cracker's.
Sorry, I just wanted to quickly say, I think like as well, I guess it depends on like who's in earshot, right? With like who was mentioned. So like I didn't really see like, well, you can kind of see, but I guess like Alexis was kind of quite close to Cracker. So if like they weren't really talking, it was quiet, and Alexis was like obviously in earshot, and you mentioned like another queen is queens around you, but not Alexis, then maybe that would be the case. So again, like I think it's quite nuanced, right? There's like loads of context to it. There's loads of like what's not said. So again, obviously, I'm saying I don't think it was right of Alexis to do that, but I don't think it was necessarily like a black and white situation. Sorry, I'm sort of conscious that Sis and Suter had their hands up first. Is that all right, Luke? Okay, cool. So yeah, Sis, Suter, Luke.
Mine is quick. I was just gonna say, I think it's because the word respect is so heavy. Like, you should really like respect everyone in that room. Like, and I'm sure she does. But when you use a word like that, and then you kind of just like mention a few people, and some of the people weren't in the group, so it's not like you're just saying, oh, I respect you guys so much, like you're here in the group with me. But she also mentioned Jujubee, so she opened it up to other people in the room, but didn't include everyone. It does kind of make you think like it's just a heavy word. If you said like, I'm very close to this one and this one and this one, is one thing, but like, I respect this one and this one and this one, like, babe, like, you need to measure your words. That's a problem with Cracker. She doesn't have a lot of filter when it comes down to it. But yeah, that's my point.
Yeah, it is a loaded word. I absolutely agree with you. It's a loaded word.
Just to quickly reply to that, I took it when she said respect as admire. I didn't take it as in like, I don't respect the people not that I just mentioned. I took it as she means I admire Shay, I admire Jujubee, as in she looks up to them as a role model rather than an equal, where the others she sees them as on equal playing field. But it was a wrong word to use, because I don't think, because I do that a lot, because although I got good vocabulary, I will often misuse a word and then I'll think 2 seconds later, that's not quite the right word. But also with the language barrier, I don't think it's as big as an issue as Alexis made it out. I think she used that as an excuse, because Alexis has shown in her interactions that she's quite spot on with what everyone's saying. You know, it's odd that it only crept up when I think she realised when she went for Cracker, it didn't turn out the way she wanted it. Because I'm assuming in the room, when she started going, she was like, shit, I'm in the middle of having a go at this person. It's not... And I think she realised she was looking bad. But then, like, my mum's Italian. I know it's not the same, but she's really fiery and she'll pop off really quick, but then it's over. It's like, so she's not actually angry with the person. It's just when she's saying her piece, she comes out really fiery. And like, if you told my mum, oh, you're quite argumentative or fiery, she'd be like, what, really? You know, so I think it might be part of that. It's just her personality. She's more hyped up and worked up than she was. No, she isn't as hyped and worked up as she came across. It's just the way she talks.
I think I agree with what Suda said. I think that maybe it was just a poorly chosen word, and I think that in the context of the conversation, it did feel like she was talking more admiration rather than flat out respect. But I certainly take Sis's point as well, that it's, you know, you need to choose your words better. I really loved Shay as a result of that. Shay jumped to her defense in a very calm and very supportive way and said, actually, I don't think that's really what was going on, because actually Alexis was a fair distance away. Like, it showed Alexis reacting and having to look sort of all the way around her to try and listen in closer. It's like, honey, this is not your conversation, so, you know, stay out of it. But I really hope Shay wins, and I think she's such a fantastic queen, and I think it's such a shame. Bottom three, obviously I'm jumping ahead, but still, but she really, you know, she's such a professional, but also such a kind and straight talking person that I really love her.
Cool. Yeah, I wanted to say the same, and especially about Juju jumping in as well later in the episode. I think, yeah, I was going to say, like, Mayhem and Blair at one point are just kind of doing the whole like, rah, rah, rah. And like, again, I get it, pressure cooker environment, like everyone's a bit like, ugh. I don't know, it's just one of those really funny things where it's partly why I don't really warm much to Mayhem a lot of the time, is like Mayhem does this whole thing of like, no, I'm going to keep it real, I'm going to tell you to your face, I'm going to be really upfront and honest, and then she'll just be there like, oh my god, yeah, like Miss Crackers, like, and then she'll be like, I said what I said, you know. It's just very like, I'm a bit over the Mayhem show. I think I was a bit over the Mayhem show in season 10. Yeah, thank you. And yeah, I mean, actually, I have to admit, like, I was messaging these guys. We were all messaging while we were watching, and I forgot Mayhem was actually in this competition. Like, really early on, she appeared, and I'm like, oh yeah, she's in. Which, you know, it sounds pretty shady, and it wasn't intended. It was just like Mayhem for me. I don't. Not much registers with me for her. Like someone like Shay, I'm looking for her in every episode. Like, I want to see where she is. Like, I want to see what she's doing, what she's wearing. This sounds a bit stalkery, but I'm not necessarily looking like that for Mayhem. I don't find Mayhem as captivating. Maybe hopefully she'll prove me wrong. I really hope she does. But yeah.
You can't see her.
Thing is with Mayhem, she's that person that like she could be there saying, "Are you okay, sweetie?" and then at the same time she's texting someone, "This bitch won't stop crying." Do you know what I mean? She comes that's and because I like Mayhem off Drag Race. I really like Mayhem. I think she speaks a lot of sense on her Insta and on Twitter. Then the minute she gets on Drag Race, I think she's living in Raven's shadow and she tries to pick herself up. You know, like a Jack Russell when he sees a big dog, it goes like, oh. That's what I feel like Mayhem's like. She's like this little dog in a big dog show. She's in the long weight class. I don't think she's quite mentally prepared for Drag Race. But although she's witty and, you know, some of her commentaries are quite nice, I just don't feel like she doesn't feel like she fits in. So she gets hurt the moment anything that doesn't go her narrative.
I think I don't think I've really worked Mayhem out myself yet, to be honest. I think I need to give her a little bit more time. I think it's funny that you said you're over her in season 10. Wasn't she on like 2 episodes? Was it 5? She's on 5 episodes. What? I did not think she's in the competition for that long. Which I know does say a lot. I agree. What was I going to say? Oh, in regards to Cracker, just to finish off the bit about Cracker, I kind of think because she is like over analysing everything, I think maybe that is why she used like a poor choice of words, right? If she's more relaxed and more like less overthinking things, I think she would get herself in these situations less ironically. I don't know. That's kind of just what I feel. So what else is next? You should move on to the challenge, then. Oh yeah, I mean we all literally said on chat basically at the same time. Like the team leaders have been randomly chosen. It's just like obviously, like they've been chosen specifically for a certain drama. So there's not really anything to say about that, I guess. So should we just talk about like what they decide? Should we just go for each team's like concept and the execution for their challenge, right? And I give our thoughts on it. But first of all, I just want to say, like generally, I found this challenge a little bit dull. Like for me, this episode, first half pretty boring. Second half, like runway and everything, and lip sync everything, great, loved it, living my best life. The challenge, like dull, boring, didn't really enjoy any of it. Just a heads up if I'm like downbeat. Go on, Bob.
No, I mean, I think we were all kind of saying in the chat as well, but like, I think what really confused me about this challenge is like in in All Stars 3, it kind of worked, but I think it was more because of the personalities of people involved. So in the All Stars 3 one, you've got Manila, who just had this ridiculous whole like sketchbook full of ideas and things and artistically planned the whole thing. You had the ridiculousness of Valentina and Naomi. You had I think Monique was still in at that point. Yeah, you had like a lot of queens who were just really fun, and it worked. I think in that because it gave us sort of completely accidentally gave us the iconic Club 96. I kind of feel like what happened was All Stars 4. Sorry, was it All Stars 4? Oh, okay. Sorry, my bad. Oh yeah, because it must be. But I think what was odd about that is the Club 96 was such an organic kind of iconic thing. Whereas this felt like they're like, right, we're gonna do that thing again because you need to give us some more memes and some more like GIFs. So like, I don't know. I feel like it, in theory, has a lot of potential, but it asks a lot of the queens to like make it iconic in spite of the challenge. I think, as opposed to because of the challenge, if that makes sense.
Yes, agreed. But let's remember that these challenges are made for some of them to excel and some of them to fail. And that's kind of what happened here as well. Like some of them did really well. Jujubee was great. Like it was, I love a second pretty much. And it was funny to see how Blair and Mayhem were trying to do the Club 96 thing with their rich and all of that, which kind of worked, but it wasn't quite the same level. So shall I start with the first one? Okay.
Sorry, I just wanted to say quick. I don't know if I totally agree with Bob, just purely because, like, sorry, Luke, just purely because, like, they've got total free reign. They can do like literally whatever they want, right? Like they've got a literal blank canvas. They can take it wherever they want. So I don't know. Like, there's no matter what start. Go on, Luke.
I was just going to add to that, that's hard though sometimes, is like writer's block. You have to, like, I think that this challenge is a little bit twofold. One, you have to come up with the concept, step one. And two, you have to then be able to execute and sell it and make it ridiculous and whatever. And that's a completely different skill. So it is an interesting one to sort of see. I would have liked to have maybe seen a little bit more about how the concepts were fleshed out to be able to judge that first part of it better. Some of them were much more creative with coming up with an idea to run with. And then some of them are better at then running with it.
Yeah, I agree. So should we talk about? Yeah, we'll go through the. Oh, sorry, Sue. Do you want to add something general first?
I was just going to say, do you want to go around what we would have done individually as if we had got to make up the hotel?
Let's do it at the end, because then we've got time to think about it whilst we're talking about the other ones, because I'm going to need a minute. So if you start off with the Golden Girls one, it's not just me, right? Golden Girls isn't ever been a thing in the UK, right? Like, no one knows a Golden Girl out of us, do they? Well, Luke and Horatio do. Oh God, was it genuinely a thing over here? Like, and I don't know anything about culture.
The thing is, I'm from Australia, so I think
Yeah,
it's
fair point.
Australia, so it was definitely big in Australia. I don't know about here.
So what is it, just
No.
old ladies? Because I got really lost, like what was going on.
Well,
'Cause I
same,
don't
but
know
also
what
that's me.
Golden Girl is.
That's basically me every episode, though. To be fair, so I just wanted to double check this time that it isn't just me. Go on, Horatio.
Yeah, so the Golden Girls was also big in Spain. It was huge in Germany, but of course Britain had to be different. So hey, let's not go there. So yeah, I thought that it was a lost opportunity because I initially quite liked the decor. I thought the decor looked really well. I thought the print of the sheets was Shay's print in her entrance look, wasn't it? Yeah. So I thought that was quite clever, and it really did work. And you know, the wicker furniture, it was all very on point. But the performance just wasn't. I think the best by a mile was Miss Crocker. I actually disagree that she was put in the bottom, but she was the only one that provided some humor. Like when she was calling her grandchildren and hello, that was quite sweet and it was quite funny. And yeah, like Shay, I mean, I'm sorry, you guys want her to win, but you're once in the bottom and that's it. This is All Stars. And she was not funny. As amazing as she normally is, she just wasn't. I mean, she could have mocked Rose's character. I can't remember Miss Crocker's take on it. She could have mocked whatever she was saying in her voice, or just tell her off like Dorothy would normally do. I don't know, a million things that she didn't do. Even the frame thing that Michelle sort of commented, I didn't find that funny. And then Mariah, my God, if you watch the Golden Girls, Blanche is like sex on wheels. Like she just thinks that just slapping a bit of sausage onto the pit crew is gonna do it. No, this is Drag Race. RuPaul wants you on your knickers crawling after the pit crew and things like that. Come on, Mariah, this is why you're out. Like, how many fucking chances do you need? So absolutely, by a mile, the worst team off. Started really well, looked very well, but just completely underwhelmed.
I agree with what Raphael was saying. I think that the concept was clever because it's already fully formed. We're going to steal this other concept and put it in a room, and that's like all of the details are there, and you just have to hit the notes, and then you've got it. But as you said, like Blanche Devereaux is the whole reason for her being on television is that she's a sex-crazed older lady, and she sleeps around, and like everyone makes jokes about how much of a slut she is, and Rose is the dumb one. So Cracker kind of hit the dumb ditzy one there, and even like not calling it a cheesecake, it's like a cream cheese pie. Like that was funny because Rose is dim. Like that's the whole point. But then Dorothy, who was Shay's character, absolutely is going to rip shreds off both of the others, one for being a slut, one for being dumb. And that wasn't really there. I quite like the frame thing, but like the judge said, it didn't go anywhere, which was the disaster. So yes, for the concept, full points. For the performance, like 2 out of 10.
Unsurprisingly, I agree. I think it's interesting with both Horatio and Luke. I think there's so much potential in this, but I also think, and as Luke said, you know, it's fully formed. But I think what they had to be really careful of, and I don't think what they really accounted for necessarily, was what also makes Golden Girls work is it's the kind of relationships of those people internally. Like, it's in that home. You do get external guests, but it's mostly them. They've got to do that with 3 guests coming, or 2 or 3 guests coming in as well. So I think actually there was a slightly missed opportunity to either like really bring them into the world, or to choose another theme that would have allowed them to interact more with the audience, with the judges. Because I think as a result, someone comes in, and are you meant to shoot them down? Are you meant to flirt with them? The flirting would work actually, but shooting them down would feel too hostile perhaps. I also think as well, some parts of it feel really clever in that it sets up for so many one-liners. It's already something that exists and has a kind of very queer sentiment to it. But I mean, also, I really wanted to see Cracker like turn it up a notch, because like you could see Cracker didn't seem too confident, because we've seen Cracker in her own season be much sharper and quicker than that, and it was a bit like the Cracker we know from like her season, when like the phone joke was going on, which I thought was quite good. There had just been like that little snappy extra afterwards to really nail it, like really deliver the landing, which I didn't get from her there. So maybe that's why they put her sort of middling. But at the same time, I don't know, so many missed opportunities for jokes. It could have been so sharp and so quick.
Just on what Bob just said, the problem with the Golden Girls, if you're going to go with something like that, each character plays each other off. So I agree that maybe Miss Cracker wasn't fully realized her character, but that's because the others were shit. I mean, part of the fun watching the Golden Girls is that Rose is dim and dumb, but the others tell her off for it. That is the fully realized joke, and because the others were so crap, that's why it didn't work.
I think just a quick point on that, exactly right. And I could see it annoyed me a bit, actually. I thought that Cracker was underplaying it a bit, because she kept sort of looking to her teammates rather than to the camera. But actually, I think she was trying to play off them, and they weren't giving anything. Because that's exactly right. And even on the show, The Golden Girls, they have guests around the house, and Blanche comes in from some date she's just been on the night before, and it's mid-morning, and Dorothy will make some sort of joke and then try and hide it from the guests, and Rose comes in and just says what's happening because she doesn't realize you're supposed to disguise it. Like, that's how you do it.
Sis?
Sorry, I'm trying to keep track of the live chat as well, since I'm the only one up here, right? Kurt has been saying bits, okay? So I'm trying to talk to Kurt. But anyways, I was distracted during that part of the challenge because I was getting food and bits, but it didn't seem very funny. And like, no, ma'am. I that whole challenge, I'm sorry, like I had a bit of a spoiler before the show because I went on Twitter and like Katya was tweeting about like what is this challenge, and I was like, oh shit, is this gonna be shit? And yeah, it was just a bit bizarre. I'm sorry, like the club thing made more sense because drag queens are in clubs, but like what drag queens are opening hotels out there? I don't know any. It's weird. And like also, I feel like they have some sort of, like, they gotta have some sort of idea of what kind of themes they should be picking, because there's a lot of material there, and there's no way that they would provide all this material without having at least an idea of what they like might do. Like, it was so random. Jujubee just like throwing the Alaskan theme there, and then they settle on gold. I think this is fucking rigged. Like, they must have like a list. Okay, like picked one of these, and then they go for it. Because there's not like, what kind of warehouse would have material for all existing themes out there? It can't be done. Like, if they say, oh, I want to do like a furry fucking scene, will they have the costumes? I don't think so. So yeah, I think the whole challenge kind of annoyed me. None of them really pleased me too much, but the Golden Girls in particular were boring as shit. Anyways,
I think, I don't know, I think TV studios would have massive warehouses of all the costumes that have ever been used. I feel like it's actually might be fairly easily accessible, especially when, like, in a big money studio, like maybe a small low scale one, but Drag Race has money these days. And I think on the challenge, the concept is weird. I'm not gonna try and sugarcoat that. It is a bit, but as a challenge for drag queens, like I remember I went to see, I think you were there. I went to see a Jinx Monsoon show. It was called The Ginger Snapped. It was very funny. And you're kind of welcomed into their living room, and there's her pianist is sitting there playing a tune, and she's got the chaise longue, and she's set up this scene. That's what you have to do as a drag queen. And so this scene happens to be in a hotel room, but the scene could be kind of anything. And I guess it's to kind of show that creativity of how you put together something that feels like, oh, I know where you are. You're in the Golden Girls house, or you're in the jungle, and how to make that all kind of work.
Sorry, Bob, I was going to quickly say, I agree with Luke, and also it's about like drawing people in and stuff as well, which is really important as a drag queen. Like obviously the actual like specific challenge itself, I agree with, is like ridiculous, but I think a lot of elements in it are pretty important. We're sort of like talking about in the chat when we're watching it. I had something else I was going to say, but I forgot. So Bob, you go. Then Suter.
Mine was just to make a really stupid pun, which is like after Luke said chaise long, I just was like, oh my god, wouldn't it be a great like drag name to be like Shay Schlong or like Chase Long, for example. That's my contribution to today. I'm sorry.
You should be sorry too.
The only thing I got to add, because I agree with most of what you guys said, is I'm wondering, seeing Shay in this challenge, how much of a good choices in her season was the fact she was paired with Sasha a lot, because Sasha has a big brain and good ideas. So I'm wondering if Sasha took a lot more direction behind the scenes and we weren't shown it, because I'm surprised she hasn't done very well in these acting challenges. Like she is good at rapping and normally she's good at runways, but I just feel she's falling flat for maybe it's because I've got her on a pedestal because I expect her to slay every episode, but I'm starting to wonder if Sasha was a main component in how well she actually did, because they had a lot of double wins.
I was going to say we're only in week 3, so like hopefully I'm sure like, and the next episode is an acting challenge.
She should have 3 wins. It's Shea Coulee.
But like, the next
era beat her at a lip sync.
Well, it was apples and pears. They were doing like very different. Okay, you go for it, Sis. But like,
I'm happy.
I mean, I don't know.
If you want to
take the camera, come on. Pull your weight. Pull your weight.
Monetize this. But like, she's actually doing it.
This is what Yaz
This leads us into the jungle, into the golden shower bit.
I can't do this. I can't do it. I do it with Sam all the time. I can't do it with you guys. It's too much. I mean, this is it. This is happening.
Especially as a mirror.
This is how you do a golden shower.
This is too much. I'm gonna turn it off.
This is just beyond control now.
Okay.
Someone carry on.
Sorry. So yeah, but I mean, the next episode is an acting challenge, and Shay did do well in acting challenges in her own season without Sasha. Like the weird high school reunion one, where Trinity was like, "I'm addicted to drugs too," like that one. Shay did I think Shay won maybe, or did very very well at least. So yeah, I don't know. I think don't get me wrong, Sasha and Shay together, I think that's a wonderful combination. Like, they both feed off each other very well, but I think Shay brought more to that than that assumption.
But the episode you just referenced was written for her. She didn't have to write that role herself.
Yeah,
so
true, but she did nail it.
Creative element there that she had to come up with this script herself. With that one, she had to perform it. I think she might be one of these people. I'm not trying to take away from her talent, but you need to give her a script. You need to give her something, and then she'll make it magic. But I think if you give her
pretty great.
I'm just thinking. I think if she has nothing to work with, and she's coming up with it from scratch, I don't think she's as good as some of the other queens. Maybe that's her weakness, because. It's just a thought. I'm not saying it's a fact or even exactly what I think is going on. It's just something I've noticed.
Just very quickly, I think that episode was won by Trinity, actually. I'm not entirely sure. But that was acting, and this is more improv. And you kind of have to be good at improv and writing your own lines, and
Yeah. Damn, I had something I was going to say, and I've remembered it. I forgot again. Okay, so should we move on to the next one? So we've got. Oh, that's what I was going to say. So that's Kurt's in the chat. They're going to jungle in the golden shower thing. So that's kind of my issue with this challenge. I think one reason why, in particular, it's so boring is because it's all just very predictable for most of it, right? Like obvious jokes, like not well executed jokes anyway. But it just like none of them were that. Like Club 96 at least was like like Bob was saying, the previous time it was done, like they had original takes on it at least, right? Whereas like the first one was old ladies in a room. I like after hearing you guys talk about it, I don't think seeing knowing much about the Golden Girls would have really made a difference. So it's just like old ladies in a room, basically, pretty boring. Like obvious jokes, like like rubbing such on someone's face, the phone thing. For me, I know like some of y'all like that, but I thought like obvious joke. Golden shower thing, obvious joke. Like it's all just like a bit boring, right? Like I don't know. That's kind of none of them were like particularly inventive. So Bob, you put your hand up. Sorry, I can't tell.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Just notice me. But I think what I really I feel like I mean, don't get me wrong, the overall sort of jungle theme like is a bit like by itself is bland. I think you can make it fun, like you can do ridiculous things with it. And I think they were so on the verge of it in some ways, but just completely under-delivered. So like Indra's energy, like, you know, yeah, you go girl, give us nothing. Like it was just so like, you know, like you have to like either you as a team you entirely downplay it and make the whole thing like and like really play it low energy, or you go completely like we are all like sex kittens really selling this. What didn't help is like Juju is just like really giving you like sarcasm and like playing up the shtick of it all, and at the same time you've got Indra trying to be India trying to be sexy and kind of just going like I mean, like this is I was saying in the chat, but like India, so the thing that I always find really quite tricky with her is like she kind of gives you nothing, like both in season 3 in the like the Bubarella challenge, if I'm right, the spaceshipy one. I just remember her just being like so like and it's just like fucking like I don't think she sees how that comes across. Like I think in her mind she's like, wow, I'm acting this really well, and then it kind of just like with this it's just like so easy to look past her. Like there's nothing that kind of steals the scene at all, whereas like Juju was basically given free reign to just like steal that. Like nobody was like in her way. She was just kind of like playing like really silly things. I think even the fact that she was in the bed made the most sense, because I'm like, actually I want her in there. Like she's gonna at least be funny with them. Like India, you just be like, she's just there, like just I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Same about whoever else was on their team. I don't remember who the third person was. But in regards to Juju, because this is potentially controversial, like I think she did well in the challenge, but I expected more from her. Like I cool, someone is nodding, great. It's this thing, I absolutely love Juju this episode. Like, but for me, I think she like shone in the confessionals and outside of the challenge. Like I laughed so many times like during those points. But the actual challenge, I think she was good and there are a few funny moments, but like based on what we've seen of her outside of the challenge, I expected more from her. Does that make sense? So yeah, go on, Luke.
I think maybe too that's a function of having nothing to work with in her teammates. Like that, like when you're generating everything, it's like, okay, so I've said something funny. Now you can bounce off it, and then I can do something else to like one-upmanship kind of all the way through. But I loved even when there was nothing going on, like where they were kind of being completely dull. We're wearing leopard print. It just comes out with something ridiculous, like hilarious. Come on, yeah. So I'm a big fan of Juju.
I think I don't agree with what Grant said. Sorry, I think Juju was hilarious. It was a laugh a second. It was come inside. I think I've said that before. She might have planned that before, not completely improvised, but still so funny. And the way she says it as well. But then bit of improvising as well. She was saying, "Oh, that my grandmother made that. Oh, that my grandmother made that." And then someone said, "Oh, is that also by your grandmother?" Don't you talk about my grandmother. I mean, my God, that was gold. And like, Jesus, that is a sign of a true winner of Drag Race. You are that quick with your wit. Here's the crown. I crown you.
Speaking of which, this is 15 carat Laotian gold. You should enjoy this. 15 carats of it. Amazing.
Yeah, I think you guys are right. I think in retrospect, it probably was just like energy the other two dragging you down. Like, I think like the points where she was funny were good, but then it was just like immediately brought down by the other two. So I think for me that made me like find Juju's less funny, because I think like with comedy challenges, right, same thing. Like you have to be like on the wavelength, or Sound Out Comedy Live. You know, like you have to be in the wavelength for finding stuff funny, and then stuff's funny, right? It continues to be funny, but like I don't know. I wasn't laughing out loud at Juju a lot because I think the others are just bringing me down, so I wasn't at that point. Right? Do you know? Does that make sense? So I think it's probably quite a lot. Now, if it's just Juju by herself, I think I would have found it a lot funnier. Go on, Sarah.
Right, just for everyone's seen Power Rangers, right? Just nod if you've seen Power Rangers. Right, what this group reminded me of was, you know, there was this fat boy and this skinny boy, and they were like these bad guy comedy villains in the Power Rangers, and Alexis and India just felt like them. And every time Juju speak, it was like when the Power Rangers transformed, saving the day, because they were so bad. And because they were so bad, every time she had a little meta one-liner, it was extra funny because, you know, because they were so bad, it made her being just good seem excellent to me. And like Horatio said, all those one-liners and how quick off the cusp she was. Because what's good with Jujubee is she's clever, but she makes you think she's a fool. And that's the best way to be clever, because she's not like Sasha Velour being really cellular. No, that's not the word I meant. Oh, anyway.
Cerebral?
That's the word I was trying to get to. Thank you. Jujubee is very good at playing the fool, but also controlling how you perceive her in it. You know, like, you know, because India's thing about the chairman, she went right back. She's like, I'm going to make anything, any part of this I'm in, I'm going to be the star in it. And then anytime she gave the other two's time to shine, they just went, Pfft. I mean, I kind of was waiting for Alexis to at least try going BAM or something, because it was a jungle theme. She could have had a big club and been like BAM, you know, every time Juju. Imagine, you know, like when Alaska did the one-word line of things with Alyssa Edwards, and she was just going boom, boom, boom. It could, every time Jujubee said something fun, she should have gone BAM and zoomed in her or something, and then it would have been clear that India just sucks. Yeah, by the way, this episode's really cemented for me that India fluked her first win. I was really hoping she was going to be like a front runner, but unfortunately, I think she's got to go soon, because I think Mariah should have stayed over controversially.
Sorry, Bob?
Yeah, sorry, I was just gonna say India's been an interesting one, because I do wonder if she's brought back for that little bit of redemption, and then once she'd kind of won, they're like, and there's your redemption. Like, woo, you go, India. I think that's exactly it for both. Yeah, I think Cracker and Juju had similar issues throughout of just not having much to bounce off. And like Alexis was at least charming in her own little way for some parts. Wasn't necessarily laugh out loud, but like, you know, wasn't a complete car crash, just
What
like
did Alexis
a mild.
say? I can't remember anything Alexis said. Can anyone enlighten me?
No, me neither. Nothing she said. Just, I mean, like there was a couple of little things where she like reacted to things. Like India was just like, "Oh, now I go over here." It was just a bit like, "For fuck's sake, India." But like, I don't know. It's an odd one, because I mean it is a tough challenge in the sense that like improv is not easy, and some queens are not used to necessarily doing that. But I also do wonder, like a lot of queens, like, you know, host shows where they have to be fairly quick on their feet, admittedly in a very different sort of scenario. But it does seem weird to me that like in this challenge we just had so many people not hit the mark. You know, you might have one weak link in a team usually or something like that, but it's just to have like Cracker kind of scrape through in like in her group, because the other two weren't really giving much, to have Juju have to carry the entire team. It's just like, geez, I mean, come on.
She's gonna say bless India. She won but didn't even get a 10K as well. So she's literally just like, hey, here's your redemption now. Go home, bitch. You're a bad actress. She's not good. She's not good. But I will say, I'll take back what I said in that challenge is completely useless. Because I think it's a good opportunity for character work. And that's, I think, what some of the queens have missed, like building an actual character and exploring that, and within like a prepared how do you say, script, but also something that you can improvise with other people. Yeah, it's a fucking big ask, but I think that's what really was missed.
See, I still don't think it. I don't think it was a big ask, to be honest, because again, like I don't think the set really matters, right? Like I was saying when watching it, like the crew behind the scenes are going to build it anyway. Like you don't need to worry about like what wallpaper you put on the walls, like where a lamp goes, how good your painting is. None like that all means shit. What matters is your character and like how you can use that to bounce off of whoever you're doing, you know. So like, and they're all like, it's easy to have a starting point as well. Like they're all fine starting points. Like old lady's great. Like create like a unique old lady character. Like Jungle. Like Sue had the great idea with like Alexis doing the BAM thing. Like I just think it's easy. Like just use a scene and like create a character based off of that. Like where a palm tree is or what sheets are on the bed doesn't really matter, right? So I think it's difficult in that you can focus on the wrong things potentially. But again, like we've seen this challenge before. It's quite formulaic. We know how you win these sort of challenges, and like the reason we're going to in a second, but the reason why Mayhem and Blair won is because they basically copied the winning formula from the last season that did this challenge, right? So again, like that's basically all Drag Race is for every single challenge. It's like what worked before, emulate it the best you can, and try not to shit yourself. Go on, Luke.
I love that summary. I think that's exactly what Grant just said. I just want to point out for those of us who are fans that this was not just an old lady like group. This was the Golden Girls, and that's a specific thing, and they're fabulous. You should go and watch it. Educate yourselves, people. Educate yourselves. Watch the Golden Girls. Here's the thing. So Golden Girls, I know this is not a Golden Girls chat, but it's an 80s sitcom that deals with gay issues and is very progressive and was pro-gay rights right back in the 80s during the AIDS crisis when everyone wanted everyone with HIV dead. This was not a pleasant time to be gay, and yet this show came out and it was elderly women who were single, who were having sex out of marriage, and were pro-gay people. So this humor has stood the test of time as well as a secondary thing. By the way, hilarious to this day. Go and watch it.
I do notice a little bit in that. I'm sure you guys are probably aware as well, right? There's a dude on YouTube, I think called Matt Baum, maybe Matt someone who does like.
I love him. Sorry.
Yes, he's very good. He does like history of like queer stuff in like sitcoms and like old TV shows and that. He must have popped up on your guys' YouTube somewhere. Like I recommend checking him out because like he's covered the Golden Girls a few times and like it is super interesting in how progressive they were. So I do know a little bit. It does look like a fun show, but also I hate old things, not just old people, but old shows. So I probably won't. But thank you. So should we move on to the next one?
One tiny thing though, the fashions, the 1980s fashions. If ever you wanted to know how to wear a shoulder pad, this is your Bible.
Okay, well, just based on that, I'll consider it. Should we move on to the last one? Cool. Okay, so I sort of said my little piece about that already, to be honest. So who wants to start off? Okay, so Luke, Bob. Sorry, Bob.
Well, Mayhem shocked me that she can actually do well in a challenge that doesn't involve black leather gloves, but rubbish bag gloves, I suppose. But I thought they were really good, and although I love Jujubee, honestly, I think Blair should have won going by, because I thought Blair and Mayhem were amazing, but Mayhem's runway let it down overall. I enjoyed every minute of it because it was just so campy, and they didn't take it serious, and they were the only team that, as a team, fair enough, there was only two of them, but they worked together well. I thought it was really, like, the concept was a little bit meh, but they interacted with the judges the best, I reckon, as well. And like the judges lapped it up. They were like, "This is my fantasy," and you could see Michelle was like, just questioning, "Is this really a rich room?" But she went with it anyway. And I thought, the butler.
I really liked this room, actually. I thought it was, yes, it was a cheesy rip-off of Club 96, down to the whispering of your catchphrase. I think they both were in character well, and I think they worked well together, and they definitely interacted with each other, maybe the best of all of the groups, actually, in terms of interaction. There were only two of them, so that's easier to get your interactions going. I liked the rich theme. It's simple enough that you can then kind of take it in whatever direction you want. I thought that Blair was actually quite funny when she combined together, expensive and rich. expensive rich, as if that's a separate thing. But that was kind of the only little
Daddy rich.
that was the only little fleck of genius, I thought. Like the rest of it was a little bit sort of formulaic, and even the cocktail or whatever that Michelle thought tasted of dividends, I thought Michelle won that challenge for me. And then Blair says actually it just tastes like chicken to try and sort of downplay it. They could have maybe gone further with that. Like, this is the rich room that's actually really cheap, but we're not going to tell them that. Like, that would have been a more interesting kind of area to go for, I thought. But I thought that they looked the part. I thought that they played the part really well. Yeah, thumbs up.
No, honestly, I think Luke is right there. I mean, not only that, but they were quite clever in that the fact they kept the concept super simple. They gave themselves a lot of room to play around. They were a lot more spontaneous. It was so stupid and overblown. Like, I think if they'd been, if, for example, the Golden Girls would have worked to its proper potential, I think that would have won over the Rich Room or whatever it was. But I think they were just clever. Like, they kept it simple. They just kept it focused. It gave them lots of room for ad libs and quips. It had the potential to get really boring really quickly, but I think their characters were so ridiculous. I think, like, I really like that Mayhem and Blair both felt like they were genuinely acting and taking on different characters. Like, it was a little bit different from how they normally are. Mayhem dropped her voice a couple of octaves. It worked. It was just, it wasn't necessarily like groundbreaking, but I thought it was at least fun. And I think they deserved that win. Perhaps only because the other two were not great, but they did the assignment. Like, they did it well, and they involved the judges way more, I think, than anybody else. They were properly enmeshed with the actual thing. Like, they sold them on the fantasy of it as soon as they came in. They kept on referring to it. Whereas, like, Jungle, they were a bit like, and you've got a mosquito net, and you're like, okay, because you're in a jungle, right? And the mosquito, right? Okay, it was just, I think it was a lot more consistent and like thematic.
Sorry about that. I want to say hi to Nixon and Burton. Cheers for getting involved. Yeah, Nixon, that's literally exactly what we've been saying about the challenge. I think Burton makes a good point, saying that, like, he thinks the Jungle Room would have won if India wasn't there. I can potentially see that. But also, like, the net bit, like looking up at the stars, that was Juju again who came up with that, wasn't it? I thought that was probably my favourite bit of that whole challenge. So I think I agree, because, like, the reason I think Burton could be right is because, like, the Jungle Room had the funniest moments, I thought, but the Gold Room was more consistently funny throughout, if that makes sense. So it was, like, as I was saying, like, for me, I think it was because the other creatures brought it down so hardcore, that I think that's probably the reason it didn't come across particularly well. So yeah, does anyone have anything else they want to add about the last room? Go.
So I was just, I thought it was an interesting point that Kurt said, that Club 96 actually didn't win that challenge, and Valentina went home. So it wasn't like a successful, like, it just became a meme. I just thought that was quite interesting, because in my mind, because it's so memorable, that's what you remember from that challenge. And also, yeah, I agree with you guys. I thought, it wasn't like the funniest thing ever, but it made me smile the most, like, between the challenges. And I think both Blair and Mayhem, they worked well together, and they did a good job. Actually, Mayhem exceeded my expectations, which were quite low, to be fair. But anyways.
I think isn't that so true of Drag Race though? Like, Vanjie was a success. The Broccoli was a success. Club 96 was a success.
The Broccoli was not a success, okay?
We know who it is. We're talking about it now. It was a success.
That's wrong. But you're wrong.
Sweetheart, I'm also talking. At least I'm trying to. No, I think they become memeable, right? And those memes are what, like, people will go and see her perhaps over someone else who's better, like Rock'em Sakura, because she's been more talked about because of the Broccoli. But Club 96, like, we're talking about it as being synonymous with this challenge, and like Kurt and Sis said, it lost and Valentina went home, but still it's become this thing. Vanjie got a whole other season because of Vanjie. Rangy.
But that's it. But like we're saying, like the best challenge this season was like almost as good as the worst performing team from the last time this challenge was done, right? So it kind of says a lot about, again, like Nixon's saying, like why this challenge just wasn't well executed generally. Sorry, so Sue, you had something to say, right? And then Horatio?
Oh, mine was just a quick add-on that the Club 60, the Club 96 thing was the first time I ever messaged you, Bob and Yaz on Instagram about the meme about it. So that was one good thing. But just quickly to add, Burton brings up a good point that sometimes the worst things are the most memorable, because he mentions Roxy Andrews' verse is probably the most memorable. And I mean, that was something. Mute.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, exactly. But I don't really feel like the worst parts of this challenge were that memorable. We're not going to remember Golden Girls hotel room in 1 week's time, sadly. Okay, so should we move on to like the actual bit I cared about this episode, the runway, right? Yeah, and the critiques of challenges. Go on, Horatio.
Yeah, maybe a quick note on that. We can't expect every single episode of a series to become memorable, guys. Just because this episode on the previous season was quite memorable, that doesn't mean that every single episode has to be memorable. I quite enjoyed this episode. It wasn't a particularly good challenge, but it wasn't bad either. Come on, there probably will come another episode where something will happen that will become memorable. We won't stop talking about it. So let's cut some slack to the program, please.
You sound genuinely hurt. I'm sorry. I just wanted to like back up. Why? Yeah, I just thought the challenge was a bit bland. But I'm not saying it had to be amazing. But that's why I'm just not particularly passionate about talking about the actual challenge. But I'm saying on the other hand, the runway. Go on.
I said what I said.
Yeah, very that. But the runway, like I had time of my little life during this runway, so I'm excited to talk about this. So let's go through them, right? Actually, no, we'll be here all day to go through them. Or shall we? Because they were all very good. Or should we talk about? Let's just talk about like who stood out and anyone who's particularly terrible for whatever reason. We'll go through
Toot and boot. Toot and boot.
I understand the words you're saying. I'm trying to think of what that's going to be. I'm gonna toot all of them. Okay, I mean, yeah, we can do. Who wants to lead this? I forgot who was like the order in that. Luke, go on.
I'm on the chat. I do this on WhatsApp as I'm watching the episode, and so I've got them all in order, and I've got what scores I've given them, if you like, a summary. I'll lead and say the summary, and then I'll shut my mouth. Maybe. First one was Blair. I gave her 3 toots. Toot, toot, and toot.
Okay, I'm trying to remember who.
I'm sorry, unless he assigns an affidavit, we all know me and Luke will never shut up.
No, I thought Blair's was really great, especially the last look. Like I was writing down like full woman, right? Like it was just, I don't know, like she has an edge the other girls don't have in that, like she's not particularly like campy, right? Yeah, face, right, Luke? Exactly like what you're saying. She's just got something the other girls can't really have. They're not those kind of girls. So yeah, I thought Blair's was great. Anyone else?
I like Blair's. I thought Blair's was really good because for me, I'm really fussy with these types of runways. I like them to be 3 completely different looks, like Alexis and Blair's were. That's why I didn't like Shay's very much, and I didn't like India's very much, and I didn't like Mariah's very much, because to me, they weren't embodying 3 different outfits. They were just like a quick reveal or just ripping off that. You know, I want them to look like different things. And I know it's controversial. I don't like Shay's look this episode, but if it was a singular look for like a insect theme or garden theme, I would have loved it. I would have been like, shoot. But it's because to me, it didn't hit the good. She literally ripped off a bit of fabric, which to me is the same as taking off a jacket. But if you're going to do something like that, be clever like Miss Cracker with the Fabergé egg thing, because that was so cool. You know, and that's all my thoughts on it, because there's way too many of them to talk about. And
Yeah, sorry, go on, Luke.
Oh, I was just going to say we'll get to them all. We will get to them all. Next in order, if no one has anything to add on Blair's, is Mayhem, and I gave a toot, but I said it was the same look. I think that was just a jacket removed, and then a toot.
Fair. I just want to quickly say that like I get where Sue was coming from, and I would have preferred like 3 distinct looks as well. But that really, like, that wasn't a challenge. A challenge was technically a 3 in 1, right? So again, I don't feel like the jacket really counts as like a 3-in-1, but I feel someone like, again, we get onto it, but India's look like was despite being similar and like the same fabric, it was like a dress that like had 3 completely different looks, right? An outfit had 3 completely different looks, but it was still cohesive. So I actually think that's probably the best execution of a 3-in-1 if that was the challenge, but it's not the most exciting necessarily, but obviously we get onto that. Mayhems. Yeah, I agree with Luke.
Yeah, it really does annoy me that like Mayhem had the kind of audacity to literally take off a coat and be like, number 2, like, because nothing else changed. Like the length of the thing she was wearing underneath did not change. Like the hair, if I'm right, did not change. And then when she transitioned to the third look, you were like, so what? Well, you've got a bathing suit that's still in the same fabric, and I like the consistency of that throughout. Great, cool. But then like for me, not enough had changed that it really felt like 3 separate looks. It was like I'm wearing a swimming costume under a big coat. Great. Groundbreaking. Like at least India's, yeah, as you said, kind of seemed to go to like 3 different sort of lengths of whatever. Still didn't like blow me away. But
I think the issue is that Amazon must have only had 2 different outfits in that fabric, right? Come on. Okay. Anyone else about Mayhem, or should we move on? Cool. Luke, on.
Cool. Next one was Alexis. I gave Alexis a shoot for the big top look, a boot for the ballet look, and then a toot for her third look.
Yeah, I agree. Anyone else?
I don't know. I wasn't that keen on the first look, to be honest. I don't know. Something about the colors didn't really appeal to me. I don't know. Maybe it just seemed a bit costumey, which I know that's the line that Alexis kind of like walks on. It just didn't appeal to me, but she did well in the challenge.
Absolutely what Yas said. And also, I mean, kudos to her for doing 3 different looks, which is, I mean, in my book, that was better than anything that India did, because India was basically the same print every time. We're gonna agree to disagree with India, because I thought India was just lazy. But anyway, being Alexis is being more worked on, and more that there were more to it and more logistics. They were just a little bit a bit meh. I think I don't know, she's becoming the Latrice Royale of All Stars 5.
I think even Ross said it, that the green, was it Ross who said that the green in the middle didn't really fit anything else? And like the big top was part of the story, and the clown at the end was also a good part of the story, and definitely a very different silhouette and the rest of it. The ballerina in the middle, I don't know, you don't go to the big top to see a ballerina, and it wasn't really a tutu, and it was, I don't know, a bit weird. But impressive to hide it all in amongst the costume, I thought.
Just quickly add to Horatio's point. She can't be the Latrice of the season. She's already shown so much diversity in what she's wearing compared to Latrice in this one runway. I mean, imagine Latrice doing this challenge. She would have had a black dress. She would have took the black dress off to a darker black dress, to take that off to a darker black dress with a lion on it.
I know, but what I mean is that she hasn't evolved much in her aesthetics. Alexis hasn't. So that's what I meant. I absolutely agree. Latrice is at the bottom of the fitting order. She's only on peg 1 because of that latex thing that saved her that episode, and the rest is history. But yeah, what I meant is Alexis hasn't evolved much. She's still wearing the same stuff.
So yeah, I agree with you guys. I think for me, like initially though, like the clown outfit, I didn't expect that from Alexis. So like initially, I'm like, oh, that's cool. But then like looking at it again, not amazing. But also, I have the issue with Alexis's other 2 outfits that I had with Cameron Michaels, I've had with other queens. Like I don't think she can pull off like the cute, sweet little girl kind of looks. Like the middle and last ones. Like it just wasn't working for me at all. I think you have to work with what you got. And that ain't what you got, sis, in my opinion. Should we move on to the next one? Go on, Luke.
You go on. So it was India. I gave her 3 toots, and I commented that I would have liked the hat to have come off. The reason I'm going to explain myself here. I think Grant makes a really good point in that it was 3 looks in one, not necessarily 3 separate looks, and this was definitely 3 looks in one. I liked the cohesion of the same fabric. There were 3 completely different silhouettes, except the hat stayed the same. So had the hat come off to change one of the looks, then that would have definitely been 3 good looks in one. I didn't give any of them shoots, but I gave them all toots.
Okay, so I feel like Horatio and Sue has kind of talked about this look already, but go on, Horatio, you can say more. Go on.
I mean, just to, I don't know, because it seems like we could be here all night. To me, the defining thing that makes someone like India's that look not fit the brief is that everyone else or most of the people went for 3 different looks. And I agree that 3 in 1 can be read as 3 costumes in 1, but I think it's more 3 different costumes in 1 queen. And that's what we saw in other queens. And therefore, India's brief was not adhered to, in my opinion.
Well, like they interpret the brief differently, different challenges, right? Like even last week, this love the skin you're in, or is a week before? It's last week, right? Like Blair did something that was quite different and could be interpreted as not loving the skin you're in, but it's quite divisive, right? Like some people loved the direction she took it in, and some didn't. I think these runway challenges are open to interpretation a lot of the time. Like I can think of so many challenges where queens technically haven't followed the brief, but they won, because they've done their own thing. They've interpreted in the way they wanted to interpret it. And I think India took a different angle completely. I think actually, she performed the worst of the challenge, I think, objectively this week. I actually think it's her runway that saved her. I thought, like, I understand why people wouldn't necessarily like it, but for me, it was my favorite aesthetically. Like, I just loved the whole look a lot. Like, I thought it was really sleek, like the color, like the hair, the makeup, everything. I really enjoyed watching it. So yeah, I personally absolutely loved this one. Maybe it wasn't the most exciting, but I still really enjoyed watching it. Go on, Suga.
I liked her look. The look was lovely, that dogtooth pattern. I just didn't feel like it hit the challenge, and it didn't keep her safe. She was in the bottom. She was up for elimination.
Good point. But but obviously, like the runway is taken into consideration as well, right? And I feel like if she had had a shit runway and a shit challenge, like everyone would have just put her name in the box, right? I think that's kind of what I meant. But you are right. Anyone else got anything to add about this one? Cool. Go on, Luke.
Next one is Jujubee. I gave her a toot and a cute and a cute. I made up a new little thing. I thought that the looks were cute. They weren't particularly fantastic, but I did give her a shoot for the concept because I thought that the different holidays and things was actually a really fun way of having the 3 looks in one. But like the Christmas look was okay. She's wearing a red bodysuit and a bad wig, and okay, fine. But the concept, I thought, saved it.
Thank you. And I kind of on the same note, I kind of thought it was quite clever because like she started with Halloween, and then the other 2 costumes that the kind of cuteness of the other 2 costumes kind of felt like they could have been Halloween outfits. Like someone goes to a party as like sexy mouse. It was very much that, and I thought thematically it worked. It was so like camp and kitsch, and I think with a different queen, it could have potentially been a bit rockier, but I think she's so charming that she can also really sell that like stupidness, like of just being like, I'm in it, I'm a little Easter bunny. And where was she hiding the carrots as well? Like, great. I thought it was just so cute.
No, that's right. Play to your strengths. I was just gonna say as well, but like it's a commentary, like what she's saying about like the pilgrim and stuff during like her runway. That was like proper funny. That's what I mean. Like it's for me, it's like her personality, as most people would say, right? Like is by far her biggest strength. So I think like her runway played to that. It wasn't. She's not going to do a stunning look every runway, but it was a fun runway. I totally agree with what Luke said. And go on, Luke, you could add to it.
I just think too, like I'm going to forget to say it later. When she wins, she offered Rue a carrot. Come on, would you like a carrot? What have I got? What can I do for you now? Hilarious.
Yeah, go on, Sue. And sis, do you have something as well?
Kurt said, "Sorry, Luke, you're not top 2 to the week. Jujubee is." And you're all saying about her personality. A lot of people can be charismatic, but she's literally galvanizing. That's how strong her magnetism is. She could literally, like those old grumpy people that never smile. Jujubee could walk in, talk to them, and then they'd be like, that's her strength. Because she even admitted this episode her taste level's not there, and because the costumes weren't great. Even the Halloween one wasn't great, but it's that concept, and she has the personality to pull it off.
I think this is jumping a bit ahead, but since we're praising Jujubee, I think it's quite up to say that the bit I laughed the most in the whole episode was when she wins the challenge, and then there's the confessional where she goes, I think you would like to know what I'm thinking, right? And then she goes on to talking about her cats. I'm thinking about my cats. They live with me. I don't think they really like me. But yeah, I think, should I get more? And he's like, oh my God, this is so genius. Thank you, GGB.
I totally agree. I was like proper laughing at that. That's something like she's like I've absolutely loved her this episode. Like I've always liked her a lot, but like she's kind of like reached like Katia levels for me. Like if she continues like this for the rest of the competition, I'll have time of my life. So yeah, should we move on to the next queen?
I just realized I was waiting for someone to unmute me, and that's my job. So the next one was Mariah. I gave her a toot, not a different look, and a toot. So I liked the looks, but the first one literally was just a jacket taken off. That's not a separate look. That's the same look, just without your jacket on.
Can I ask, sorry, what was the look? I've completely blanked on this.
It was all black and with the helmet, the visor thing, and the black sort of white sort of salt and pepper feathers that then came off to reveal what was on underneath it all along, but we could see it all anyway.
So I get like Raja vibes quite strongly from Mariah quite a lot of the time. Like it's quite like avant-garde, like but it's very fashiony and like the makeup and stuff as well. I really liked it. Again, I think what I like is when Queen surprised me. I didn't really expect that sort of thing from Mariah because she's like quite pageanty, right? But she kind of took it down as like avant-garde fashion kind of route. And I liked it. I agree. Like they weren't the most exciting looks in that they weren't also different. The first like the initial look was really cool. But yeah, I liked the looks quite a lot this week. Anyone else got anything to add? Cool. Is it Cracker next, Luke?
I would just say one more thing on Mariah, and then it is Cracker next. One more thing on Mariah is that her mouth and her smile is exactly the same as my drag mother's smile. My beloved Tina, they just look smiling exactly the same way. So I doubt she's watching this because she lives in Hong Kong now. But Tina, if you're watching this, I think that you're just as pretty as Mariah. In fact, more so, sweetheart, more so. Next one is Cracker. Cracker, I gave a shoot for the egg. Because not only is it an egg, but she then did the little poses, little legs to the side, little leg to the other side. I'm going to sell you this egg, even though you can't see any of my body. Amazing. Shoot. And then another shoot for the unfolding petals of the egg I thought was also really beautiful. And then a toot.
Yeah, absolutely shoot all round to Cracker. I think the execution was the best of them all. And I'm very excited about the egg, and like Luke said about the little leg sides. She seemed a little nervous to do. I think she could have done it with a bit more confidence. I don't know what was going on there, but it didn't matter because it was so stunning. And when she removed the second layer, I thought that was going to be like a butterfly kind of thing, because that sort of layer of the lower part of the dress was playing out like a butterfly, so Shay could have taken a leaf out of that book as well.
No, I agree. I had the same thing, because when that bit kind of appeared on the floor, I was like, "Ooh!" And then I was just like, "Oh, okay." But like, I thought it was really clever, just because I know Kurt mentioned in the comments about kind of comparing it to Alaska's, like non-reveal of just having like trash bags over whatever. I don't actually agree on this. I think it was a fully realized thing in itself. I thought it was just so goofy. It was just like, who comes out as a fucking egg without even her face there? Like, she's literally just a walking egg. And like, as Luke was saying, like, she really played it up. She really hammed that up to within an inch of its life. I agree with Horacio as well. I think there could have been that a little bit of confidence was lacking from that. Like, she seemed a bit unsure in the third look. And I wasn't massively I liked the third look. I wasn't like in love with it. And I think had she been a bit more confident in selling it, I probably would have been a bit more on board. But it was nice to see that come from Cracker, just being like, and they felt like three very separate things. You've got like an egg, you've got it unfurling, and you've got a color change. And that was good. Yeah, I thought she did well.
I like all of that stuff. I think on the confidence, I think sometimes some drag sticks to you, and so like if her wig was sort of like sometimes they move a bit stiffly because they don't want their head to fall off, or they don't want something to come undone or something. So that definitely affects the way you can confidently move. Whereas a queen who is confidently selling an outfit knows it's not going to fall off. So maybe with so many intricate layers, maybe it's a little bit kind of I don't know, difficult to keep on or something. But I did not shoot the concept, but I really liked the concept too about Anastasia, and she was the Fabergé egg, and then she was the princess, and then she was the on the run kind of thing. I thought that was really clever too. Love a concept.
Yeah, so I was just gonna agree with everything. I just thought, yeah, the egg was definitely a look. It's my favorite look, actually. The egg. I mean, I love the dresses. The dresses are lavish, but it's such a different, gorgeous, gorgeous thing to wear. I would love to just go out with nothing but my legs and a round egg around me. It's absolutely like stunning. I was so the only thing that annoyed me is that I had been already I had seen it on fucking Twitter. I need to just not go on Twitter at all in the morning. I know it's hard, but it's all I've got right now. But yeah, I saw the look and I was like, I can't wait to see that on the runway. And it played out so well. It suited the challenge to a T. But again, one thing that I was gonna say though, it to Grant's point is very much like open to interpretation. It doesn't have to be a review on a review on a review. You can have the three looks in one. You can use different things. You can use different concepts. But I think for me, the top two were her and One to Come. And yeah, I thought she just nailed it. I love when they do have a thread within the, like a story and all of that, but also each look was absolutely beautiful.
Should I say, I think Suited, you wanted to go, right? So Suited and Luke. Sorry, you had your hand up before.
I like Cracker's look. The egg was everything, and it works with Cracker. I think if someone else had done it, it might not have worked. It takes balls to come out as an egg. Let's be fair. And I didn't like her last look as much, mainly because I don't know. I don't think Cracker pulls off normal pretty as well as some other queens. But yeah, really good. And I just find it interesting how a lot of us have different criteria for this runway. Like me and Horatio are very much, we wanted 3 different looks and other people don't mind. I just find it interesting. Maybe they should actually start telling us what the challenge is, instead of just giving it a title, because I feel like the runways don't matter as much as they used to. It's more for the fans.
Wait, Luke, sorry, I just want to bounce directly off what Suitor said. That's the only reason I wanted to go. That's all right. So yeah, I would normally agree with you, Suitor, about like the pretty Cracker with the pretty thing. No offense to her, but I actually think this sort of look like suited, like the orange hair and the color scheme and that, and giving like Russian princess vibe. For some reason, like it all just really worked well for me. I think she'd like try to do like more typical pretty, like a Roxy Andrews kind of look. Definitely not. But this particular like combo of everything for me, I think just really suited her specifically to a T. And just apart from that, I haven't really given my thoughts on it. Obviously, I agree with everything you guys said. Everything I want to add is I just absolutely love the color combo as well. Like that's just that's important to me. I really loved it. I like this is probably my favorite look on the runway. Yeah, I absolutely loved it. Sorry, go on, Luke.
So just what's going on in the chat, I agree with. Kurt says, I wish the sleeves came off or went white. And Burton said it would have been awesome if they unfolded to match the third dress's color. And I completely agree. That was the one thing in the third look that was like, well, I can see where it's come from, but it doesn't really fit this look very well. So I completely agree with that. I also think that Cracker is short, and an egg is not a flattering shape on a short leg. And she went there anyway. That's one thing I really loved about it. Shall we move on to the last one? So last one was Shea Coulee, who I gave a shoot, a toot, and a shoot, and a concept shoot. That's 3 out of 4 shoots. Shoot, shoot, shoot.
That's a lot of shooting. Luke must be spent. But I loved it. This is the kind of thing I adore from Shea. Is like, actually, Kurt was asking what we would do. I obviously I would in no way be as good at this as Shea would be, but I love there to be a common thread. Like that's what I want to see. Like she gave us a life cycle of something. Like that's clever. Her makeup was stunning. Like that, I could not stop looking at that. Like it was so well done. There's I think it was all because there was a really close-up picture of an insect a couple of years back, which is the one I'm guessing she's mimicking here, which is exactly that color combo, and it just stunning. Like she she like looked deeply into that. Like she must have spent a while preparing the things for it. I just thought it was great. Like I adore it.
I mean, I'm not too invested into this debate because I never saw season 9 back in the day, so I don't have strong feelings about Shay. I think she's a very good queen, and I'm rooting for her to a point. I was underwhelmed. I think it's because I wanted. So I thought I saw what was coming. I saw the sort of lava kind of theme going on. I thought, oh, she's gonna turn into a butterfly, but it just didn't get me there, and I can't quite pin down why. I think it is because she's such a tall queen. She was a huge lava, but then she wasn't a huge butterfly. Like, from a lava this big, you get a huge butterfly normally. And I didn't see that metamorphosis really going to town with her. And there were this kind of, like, I think it was Ross who used the word, what was the word?
Crafty.
Costumey, yes. Because the wings they were not the butterfly that I was expecting from Shay, and maybe it's because of the hype that Shay has at the moment, but it just didn't take me there. I was expecting a huge butterfly, a beautiful one. I think the color choice wasn't great either. I think of all the colors in the rainbow, she could have chosen other ones. I wasn't sold on them, and I don't know, I wasn't sold on the fabric. I actually, the one I liked the most was the lava one, which was the first one, and that kind of says it all for me. Sorry.
I mean, I totally agree. I think it was really sweet of her to do that Asia O'Hara tribute and everything. But I feel like it's kind of like stay in your lane, you know. In that, like, I agree. Like, I think Shay has some great concepts, but like, she's not that sort of level of like. She's not like an Evie Oddly. That look could have been like knocked out of the park by Evie Oddly, for example, because that is like her forte, right? Whereas Shay's trying to like take us there, but it's just not really in her wheelhouse. I don't think quite yet. Maybe that's the thing. I liked it. I think it was good, but I literally completely agree with everything Horatio said. I just want to say in the chat, Nixon saying it's like very similar to like is she hungry on Instagram? I'd have to look that up and see. But I just thought that was important to say. So go on, Bob then Suter.
I do get the is she hungry thing. That it's well worth checking her out. She does a lot of makeup, especially around her eyes, in the same kind of way that Shay was doing in this. I mean, the makeup for me was stunning. I do think the color palette worked a bit against her, mostly in the sense that it didn't allow as much contrast. So I think actually what maybe made it a bit more difficult for her. I mean, she mimicked like pretty much perfectly the color of the actual insect, if it's the one I'm thinking. But I think the color contrast meant that when she revealed into something different, you didn't kind of get the color contrast that would have signaled the change in costume a bit more. So yes, there we go. Can we make this the thumbnail? Sorry, it just looks really good. But no, I thought, yeah, so I almost wanted a bit more. Yeah, there we go, that kind of thing. Like really inventive, really like tricking the eye. I think, yeah, having something that kind of gave you a subtle shift in color would have, that's beautiful, would have been like perhaps powerful. I personally love it. But I, like Yaz was saying earlier, I kind of want a through line of like 3. Oh my gosh, check that out. How did she do that? But yeah, I think at least there was a story. I think that's what was missing from some of the others for me, was no like through line or story. And so I really appreciate that from Shay.
Oh my god, I love this queen. I definitely need to follow her. These looks are like amazing. Sorry, go on, Sigo.
God, those looks like Nina Bonina Brown if she had millions. Fair play. To me, what happened with Shay was she was trying to be Gypsy the butterfly from A Bug's Life, but she ended up being the big caterpillar when he has those little tiny wings. He's like, look at me, I'm a beautiful butterfly. That's what happened to me. She didn't get there. The wings were terrible. Now, I love the look as a look. The look is beautiful. It's stunning. But to me, it just didn't hit there because all the top didn't seem to change at all. It was literally all the bottom changing, which to me, I mean, if you change your shoes, is it a new look? If you change your pants, is it a new look? I don't know. It just did not do it for me. You know, so wait, what did that say then?
It just said not what Suter said.
Oh, I was gonna say it.
I can't
so
believe you compared it to that caterpillar from A Bug's Life.
Oh, that's the comic relief.
No!
I say stuff hyperbolically to get my point across because I have no self-confidence in my standard opinion. That's a running trend with me. But like, I don't know. Like, I didn't like this look very much. I don't think and I think it was the execution. The concept was good. And I don't know. Maybe it's because I don't like pink. It's my least favorite color. Maybe that's playing a factor. Maybe if it was color, like if it was red and green, which is a color combo I like, that's a bit out there. Maybe it would have been all over it. I don't know. But I mean, I just didn't like her but I was gutted she was in the bottom because I was worried. I do not want Shea to leave because she's one of my favorite queens. I love Shea Coulee so much. So I'm not saying this from a place like I just wanted to go or I'm hating on her. And then, like, did you see what she did last week? Maybe it's because I'm comparing her standard to be too high. I don't know, but last week she was so good, and then it just felt like she was imitating one of the quirkier queens like Evie Oddly or Crystal Method, and I don't think Shay's makeup's like doing all the face paint and pattern. I don't think she's as skilled as like Crystal Method or Evie Oddly at it. Now, painting a beautiful face, yes, but like if you look at those photos Luke was just showing, those were higher level than what Shea portrayed today. Do you know what I mean? If she portrayed something like that, more polished, I probably would have loved it.
I think we've only seen that level of makeup, though, maybe a bit in Crystal Method, but mostly in Nina Bonina Brown. Like, you don't see that sort of makeup very often. I thought Shay's makeup was beautiful today. I thought absolutely stunning. And all the face furniture and all of the bits and the eye lines that came right down into the tip of the nose. When she was being interviewed by Juju and was sort of pleading her case for why she wanted to stay, even the eyelashes, there were 4 great big long eyelashes, and that was it. Like, the detail in there I thought was just stunning. I thought much more so than the costume, although even still I really liked the costume, as I said before. I can see what some people have said about the butterfly wings not being as big as they might be. Or even if they weren't going to be bigger, the fabric could have unfurled and been longer, perhaps, so that it could have then trailed behind her a bit to perhaps max out the look. But I thought 3 really well-realized looks. They were all different but linked, 3 in 1 life cycle, 3 looks, 3 stages. I don't know. I'm here for it.
Sorry, Bob. I'm concerned that we've been going for a while. We should move on, right? Do you have something? Yeah.
Just a quick thing. I'll hold it up to the screen. This is, well, hang on. I can't even do this. This is the moth I think she was aiming for. Like, there's this really, I can't get it exact. I was looking for, but like, there is a moth, and there was a picture that was sort of viral a couple of years back that was that color palette. And like, so this is not the exact one, but like, it was very similar to this, where like people were losing their minds about this. So I think that's what she was going for. But
that's
yeah, sorry.
To me, it's the color palette I don't like, because I thought I didn't like that moth. I thought like, ew. It's like, I'm just saying it because I'm dyspraxic, color schemes impact me a lot. So I think if maybe it's the color scheme I don't like about Shea, okay? No, because you know, I love Shea, and I have to feel like justify not liking one of her looks. I think it's that color scheme, because I thought that moth was ugly.
I just love that you just criticized a moth for its natural color scheme.
Boot!
Hashtag love the skin you're in, am I right? Okay, lip sync. So who wants to like, it was a great lip sync, right? Loved it was Juice. And yeah, I think Monet was a great candidate for this. Anyone have anything specific to say about the lip sync on Luke? Luke does this.
I mean, Monet Exchange, can she lip sync or what? Like, the detail of that performance and the little side looks, and I'm going to take this whole phrase to look over to you, and the weird shoe thing up around her head right at the beginning, and did you know I can put my foot there? And now I'm going to just walk across the stage and dance like I own the stage. I'm going to walk over here because there's no one here, but imagine if the crowd of people were here, they would want to see me too. And now I'm going to take up the front of the stage. She always walked in front of Juju, which you should always try and do. I'm not going to be behind anyone's hidden behind anyone's shadow. I just thought she was fantastic the whole way through. Juju I thought was cute, but gosh, Monet owned that stage.
Yeah, I mean, I loved Monet's, but the whole thing made me nervous because of the fact that Juju didn't know the lyrics, and she kept missing the lyrics. I felt Juju was really nervous, actually. I don't know what happened there, because Juju is good at lip syncing, but something must have happened there, because she was really missing the lyrics and she wasn't giving her 100% that I've seen her give before. So the lip sync actually, like, when I saw that Juju was like not doing well, it made me nervous, but I did enjoy it. Like, Monet did her thing. She did it really well. It was enjoyable for that, but yeah, it was just a shame because I really wanted Juju to take it all the way. And it's her first win. I wanted her to take the money too, but yeah, it just I don't know. I got concerned because it was definitely nerves. Like, she doesn't normally do that bad.
I have a theory. Maybe she threw it, right? Like, for two reasons. Like, maybe it was maybe she chose Shay because that's what she blatantly wanted to do, but then realized everyone would absolutely hate her and she'd never live it down. So maybe she threw it, or maybe just generally she threw it because, like, money's not really that important if you're on Drag Race All Stars, right? Like, how you're viewed by the public is important, and no matter who you send home, people are going to have an issue with you. So, and Juju's whole thing has been loved by literally everyone. So I don't think she was. It's the thing. Like, I would agree. I'd be worried if it was like a lip sync for your life. I would have totally agreed with you, but I wasn't worried. I think she played it very cleverly. I think that was totally on purpose. Personally, go on, Horatio.
So yeah, that was so nice to watch for me because I'm a huge fan of Monet. Also, can we? Yes, I am. Grant, have you not noticed? Also, I mean, probably the song didn't lend itself to it, but can we just agree that we don't need to roll down the floor and do splits and what have you to win a lip sync? Yes, which is what she did. And she's done. She will do the splits if she needs to. She will do the death drops if she needs to, but she doesn't always do it. So, Cameron Michaels, take note of that when you come to the show. And then I think I agree with Jazz. I think for Juju, she has been out of the public eye and out of the format for so long that probably sort of realizing the skin she was living in at that moment probably threw her, because she was missing the lyrics, and she was not deliberately missing the lyrics. She was like flopping and she was like turning around so you couldn't see her face. I think it was not deliberate. I think it was just nerves as well, which is, I mean, come on, these are human beings, and to pit her with the likes of Monet, she is a very seasoned queen of late, and she's performing all the time. So she probably felt threatened by Monet.
Okay, so go on, Pop. Go on.
Mine's for kind of a bit after the lip sync, so you go.
No, I was going to say something about lip sync. I think we should move on to Seago and Tiggs because my laptop's going to die.
Okay. Can I just quickly say, like, obviously with that as well, we've obviously got the whole thing for next episode, like who chose Shay, because I think, do we see, if I'm right, that Alexis chose her? And I'd assume there's maybe one more in there, which probably makes it not that far. If oh yes, sorry, yeah, you're right. But then if you got two for Shay in a three-way tie, at the bottom three, and Mariah went home, how much did Mariah beat her by is kind of my question. Like, it may be that Shay only just skirted being gone. My words have gone, but you know what I mean.
Also, do you guys think that Juju might have chosen Shay? I can perfectly see her doing it. Probably not so early in the competition. I think the way to play this is to be nice to start with and to play it fair. And then when you have a huge target on your back, 4 episodes from the end, before the end, then that's when you do it. So maybe not, but I can also see Juju be doing it.
This is how one is Manilaed. You have to Naomi Smalls it.
But
sorry, I was just gonna say, I don't think Jujubee would have voted for Shay, just because she did admit voting for Mayhem before, and that's why I don't think she would have thrown it either, because she did admit that she voted for Mayhem, who then was shocked because they're apparently very close, and she just said, like, you didn't entertain me as much as someone did. So I feel like her, like, she's judging it by the challenge kind of thing still, maybe, But yeah, that's what I think.
I think there will come a time when Juju will not play by those standards. I think she probably isn't now, but she will have no issue throwing someone under the bus and saying, "Bye, Queen. This is my crown to take, and not yours." We don't know. We don't know because we haven't been shown in the preview. But maybe she will have a BB moment. I won't say for whatever reasons.
Okay, so should we move on to CUNTs? Cool. So we just go through speed round, yeah? So we'll go like rows. So like me, Bob, Horatio, Yaz, Luke, Suter, yeah? And chat as well. So I'll do you in the chat after these guys are gone. So charisma, Jujubee, easy for me.
Yeah, I'd say the same.
Juju.
Juju.
I'm going to be controversial and say Shay for standing up for Cracker.
My C's for Yaz for actually involving the chat because the rest of us are selfish.
Fair. I'm always watching the chat, by the way, but it's difficult to manage everyone, but I'm trying my best here. Uniqueness. I'm going to go with India for her unique take on a 3-on-1, which I stand by.
I was going to say the exact same, but for Mayhem.
I think it's quite unique to rank so poorly in both your seasons. So I'm gonna say Mariah Valenciaga.
That's so shady. I'm gonna say Cracker for walking on a fucking egg.
That's fair enough. I'm going to say Alexis. Sorry, there are sirens here. I'm going to say Alexis for being the shady queen of the week.
My uniqueness is for RuPaul for looking the worst on the runway on your own show.
Ooh, some shade. I like it. So Burton's giving charisma to Juju and uniqueness to Alexis. Nerve. I was trying to think. I really can't think of anyone for Nerve. Maybe I'll come back to me. I'll go last.
Mine's maybe for Alexis for just like inserting herself into conversation, or actually like Cracker for like holding her own. Like if we're doing like a proper sense of nerve, like for really holding her own, let's give it to Cracker.
I'm gonna say Alexis. I'm gonna say what Bob said.
Sorry. Nerve. Was it Nerve? Oh, shit. What was the Nerve?
Yes, for taking a piss live.
Fair. I'm gonna give it to Mariah because she said I'm gonna toast to my motherfucking self, and she always got nerve, and I love Mariah. I miss her already.
What Bob said, I'm going to give Nerve to Cracker for holding her own.
I'm going to give nerve to myself for coming for Shea Coulee.
Oh, I like that one. Yeah, I only give nerve to Alexis because it's what the most people said. I want to be a crowd pleaser as per usual. Talent. I am going to give talent. I've already given a thing to Juju. Okay, let's go Blair because apart from Juju, she was the best in the challenge.
I'm going to give talent to Shay for that makeup.
I'm gonna give talent to Miss Cracker for that runway. It was very talented.
I'm gonna give talent to Shay. I'm sorry, I didn't say anything, but I loved it. I live for it.
I've already given things to Shay and to Cracker, so I'm going to give talent to Monet Exchange for her lip sync. It was brilliant. It was fab. Loved it.
I'm going to give talent to Horatio for that beard work. I mean, that is skill.
Yeah, fair. Cool. Right. My laptop could die any second, guys. If I go, that's why. Any final thoughts on like the episode specifically, generally? Yeah, go on, Siwa.
I just feel like the drama is going to escalate as this goes on. But this episode, I think a lot of this was just to get Cracker back in our good books, the way it was done. And, you know, Alexis is clearly going to be the villain going forward. And I just hope the episodes rely more on the challenges than the drama to be entertaining. Because I prefer it when the actual challenge is fun rather than just the drama.
Can we agree that at this point in the competition, Mayhem and India feel really strongly like Deadwood, and the title is going to be contested between the other 5.
Oh, sorry, I'm muted. I agree. I'm still interested to see where this goes. I think like this. What's been more interesting about this week is that it's kind of like knocked Shay off the pedestal a little bit. Like she's not necessarily clearly a front runner. I think she still probably is the front runner, but like we've got Juju, other queens are kind of like catching up with her now. So I think that makes it potentially more interesting going forwards.
Rooms. We said we'd say what we'd do for the rooms if we had to design the hotel.
Oh, I actually thought what I'd do for the runway, because Kurt asked that as well. I think for the runway, I would do like 3 different planets or something, But the actual room itself, I've still literally not thought of anything. How about you guys?
I said haunted house.
I'm not sure what you just said, Bob. Is that?
It was a Max quote. It was.
Oh, sorry.
It was Max as Sharon Needles being like, I said haunted house in her Snatch game. Sorry, it was terrible. I should have prefaced that with something rather than just leaving that on you. So apologies.
I think I would do something horror themed, like a horror hotel of horror with killing queens. That would be fun.
I'm gonna do an El DeBarge theme room where it's just mullets everywhere and the song just plays on loop and just makes people insane.
I would do one of those igloo rooms, but I would give everyone the cold shoulder and like not even really welcome them. And oh, sure, there's some ice over there. You could sleep on that. I think that'd be really fun.
I would have done like a Drag Race Hall of Fame. So, if there was like 2 or 3 members on the team, we'd all have like a frame going around. And the idea is for one night, you can be in the Drag Race Hall of Fame. And then I would have had pictures of all the queens up there. But on Trinity Monet, I would have stuck Manila's face on it.
In challenge shade.
Get over it.
I would do like a conceptual fair, like a room of hope, and just be like pictures of me crying on all the walls and looking wistful. I want a tasteful nude on one of them as well. Very that kind of vibe. I think Kurt's runway is really cool. His 3-in-1 would be a wedding dress going to a birthing dress with blood to a funeral dress. I mean, like dark, but also a little bit kinky, which I like. Right, guys, I feel like that's enough stream for one day because we've gone for almost 2 hours. So that's enough, everyone, now. But thank you for joining us.
Love you guys.
Yeah, love you guys.
Thank you.
Join us again when you can. Comment down below, all the usual kind of stuff. Force more people to subscribe as well. And yeah,
Luke is killing me with a little gun work.
Love you all. Can we have a number 2 next week, please?
Second.
Can we have a number 2 from Yas next week?
Fingers crossed.
Huh? Oh my god.
And then, like,
I'm
another
gonna
one
do the quiz. I'm gonna do a quiz.
Do a quiz, yo. We're here for it. We're all here for it. Cool. Okay, right. See you soon, guys. Bye-bye.
See ya. Take care, everyone. Bye.